Hello and welcome to yet another Adrenalin Shot, your short, sharp injection of something valuable. And today we're doing something a little differently. I'm here at the 2018 Vistage Chair World Conference, and my special guest today is Dan Barnett. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Good. I'm glad to have you here. Let me introduce you to Dan, and then Dan's got some really special stuff to share with us. A recognised expert on business, Dan Barnett has appeared regularly on CNBC's Squawk Box, Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal to speak on CEO confidence and leadership. Dan is an internationally recognised speaker, consultant, whose leadership concepts make or break execution, which talks about the core of success, and make or break culture, which focuses on gaining exceptional results through people, that's very close to my heart, Dan, have helped thousands of companies throughout the world. Having previously headed companies for some of the world's leading corporations, including Nestle, Pillsbury, Weyerhaeuser, and Constellation Brands, as well as running smaller companies, Dan is currently CEO and owner of the Primavera Company, a real estate company with operations in 2 US states. So I feel very privileged to have Dan with us today. And as you know, I have to start my clock for my 5-minute interview. And we're off. So Dan, you talk about a company's make or break. What is the maker or breaker?
Well, the concept of the make or break is all leaders get hung up by these alligators and squirrels that kind of jump up at us every day when we come to work. By 9 o'clock in the morning, we're dealing with all of these kinds of things. But the make or break is identifying the most important thing that you have to do to achieve your vision. So it assumes that you've figured out where you're going, which is clear direction, what's your future going to look like. And of all the things you have to do, and we all have to do lots of things well if we're going to achieve our vision, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 or 7. But I think if you really thought about it, you could put your finger on the one thing. If you did it extraordinarily well throughout your organization, it would most cause you to achieve your vision. And by figuring that out, you can focus your organization on the most important things in your company. Instead of being chewed up by these alligators and squirrels that jump up at you every day, you can make sure your organization is doing the most important things. So the idea of the make or break is identifying what that is. And so in my talk, we go through exercise where we actually figure out what everybody's make or break. And I give lots of examples from my own experience that really exemplify what a strong make or break is. People learn from it, and then they go to work on their make or break. And then we figure out how do you execute that well.
Yeah. I've actually heard something similar to that before. I think it was Dr. John DeMartini that would say, think about, obviously that vision. Yeah. And then what's the one thing you can do today that's going to take you closer to that vision?
Yeah.
So I guess
it's a very similar concept to that, exactly.
Yeah. So does the make or break ever change?
The make or break can change. I've seen make or breaks that have lasted for decades. But sometimes after 6 months, they might have to change. Because think about it. The world's changing. The economy can change. Competitors can change. You might change. Anything can change. So sometimes you have a make or break that's really working for you, and then all of a sudden it's not anymore. And that's when you want to take a look at it. You're either not executing it well, or something's happened out there to change it. The rule of thumb is this: as long as you're moving towards your vision at the pace you want to, stick with it. But if all of a sudden you're not moving towards your vision at the pace you want to anymore, take a look at it. You're either not executing it well, or it's actually changed. So that's how you know whether or not you want to change your make or break. It's all about, is it getting you where you want to go at the pace you want to?
Yeah. I guess to perhaps help some of the people that have watched this, can you give us an example of a company's make or break,
sure.
One that comes to mind?
Oh, absolutely. Like when I was at Vandy Camp's Frozen Fish, which was owned by the Pillsbury Company, our vision was to become the world's largest frozen fish company in the U.S. The U.S.'s largest frozen fish company. And what our make or break was actually freshness. So we did all these things throughout the organization to make sure that we were the freshest tasting frozen fish in the U.S. And it affected our sourcing department, our manufacturing, our marketing. Everything that we did throughout the organization was, how do we own freshness? And we went from the distant number 3 brand to the number 1 brand. And our number 1 competitor was 3 times our size. And we passed them up and became #1 brand of frozen fish in the U.S. Why? We focused on the most important thing, which for us happened to be freshness. We ended up owning freshness for frozen fish in the U.S.
So does that mean like a make or break is the same thing as a competitive advantage?
Not necessarily. A lot of people think it's got to be their competitive advantage, but actually sometimes it's a weakness. The way you know whether or not you're looking for a strength or a weakness when you look for your make or break is you always start by asking yourself this question. Are you moving towards your vision at the pace you want to?
Okay.
Now, if you are moving towards your vision at the pace you want to, that means you're doing something incredibly well. Probably your competitive advantage is moving you there towards the pace you want to. So you're going to be looking for a strength. Now, if you are not moving towards your vision at the pace you want to, you may still have a competitive advantage, but it's not getting you where you want. So in those cases, you're looking for a weakness. There's something that you're not doing well in your organization that's holding you back. So then you're looking for a weakness. You know, so it can be a strength, it can be a competitive advantage, but a lot of times I'd say probably in maybe the majority of cases, it's actually a weakness. It's holding you back, keeping from getting where you want to go.
Okay. We've got 23 seconds left.
Okay, go ahead.
But we can go a bit over. You also talk about forward-moving metrics or forward-facing metrics.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by that term because everybody usually looks backwards for metrics.
They do.
Tell us what you mean.
Well, there's a lot of gurus out there that say that in order to be successful, focus yourself and your organization on results. The problem with results.
I'm going to ignore that.
Okay. The problem with results is they always look backwards. By the time something is result, it's over. Now, a forward-facing metrics is based on the concept of a value chain. A value chain is a series of actions or activities that creates value. So when you put a value chain together, and I always encourage people to put a value chain together for their make or break, because that's the most important thing. It's worth the effort to do that. You're identifying the activities, the actions that people do that cause you to move towards your vision. And those are facing forward because you do an activity today, you get a result tomorrow. So it's identifying the actions and activities that people actually do that causes you to start facing forward. So what we work on in my workshops is once we know what our make or break is, what are the activities, the things that we actually have to do in our organization that'll cause us to get where we want to go in the future? Because those are going to be forward facing. And if we do those week in and week out in our company, we will achieve our vision. But that's what a forward-facing metric is.
So maybe just give us an example when you're talking about the frozen fish.
Great.
What would a forward-facing metric look like there?
All right. So for example, we figured out that in order to produce the really great fish that we had to do taste tests every week. All right. And we trained our palates. These are all activities to recognize different flavors. So that when I say that I think this thing has a tarragon note in it, you know what I'm talking about. So there's a manufacturing. So if there is an issue, we can now fix it. We can address it because we're looking at it every single week. And if something is going wrong, we're identifying what it is and we can speak to one another in a way you can understand what I'm saying. That's an activity. So that's one of many, many examples I could give you, the activities that we had to do that caused us to be forward-facing with our freshness.
That makes so much sense. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I know that everybody will indulge us that we've gone a little bit over time because I know you wanted to know what that example was, didn't you? And, you know, obviously, this is really important to any business. If you don't know where you're going, you're just going round and round in circles, aren't you?
All good performance starts with clear direction. Get clear about where you're going. Once you know where you're going, what's the most important thing you have to do that will cause you to get there? And once you know what that is, figure out those forward-facing metrics so that you're doing the things you have to do that will cause you to get there. That combination will get you on track and you will be able to achieve your vision no matter how distant it is.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. Great chatting
really
with you
great
today.
Talking to you.